She was on her knees in front of 200 people. Not praying. Not bowing. Scrubbing. The champagne had splashed across the marble floor of the Plaza Hotel ballroom, and Victoria Harlow stood over her, holding an empty glass, smiling like a queen who'd just sentenced a peasant. "Clean it up," Victoria said. Her voice was loud, deliberate. "You're clearly more suited for this kind of work anyway." Someone in the crowd laughed. Then another. Then the whole room seemed to ripple with cruel amusement. Maya Thompson was 32 years old, a self-taught coder from Newark, New Jersey. She'd saved for 3 months to buy the silk dress she was wearing. She'd come to this Manhattan tech investor mixer with one goal: find someone willing to believe in her platform. Instead, she was on her hands and knees, wiping up champagne with cocktail napkins a waiter had nervously handed her, while 200 people watched. The liquid soaked through the napkins. Sticky. Cold. It got on her hands, under her fingernails. She could smell the expensive champagne mixed with Victoria's perfume. Suffocating. Victoria leaned down closer. "Look at me." Maya looked up. "This isn't a charity event, sweetheart. People like you don't belong in rooms like this. The sooner you accept that, the better. Now finish cleaning and use the service entrance when you leave." A man in the crowd actually clapped. Maya's hands were shaking, but not from fear, from rage. She finished wiping the floor. Every single drop. Then she stood up, slowly, her knees aching from the marble. She smoothed her stained dress, picked up her purse, looked Victoria directly in the eye, and said nothing, because words would have broken the dam, and she refused to give Victoria her tears. She walked toward the exit, head high, shoulders back. The crowd parted like she was contagious. She made it to the elevator, pressed the button. The doors opened. She stepped inside. The doors closed, and then she collapsed against the wall, gasping for air like she'd been drowning. The ride down from the 10th floor felt like falling. She stumbled out into the Manhattan night. The cold air hit her face. She'd forgotten her coat, left it in the coat check. She wasn't going back for it. She walked 6 blocks before she realized she was walking in the wrong direction. She stopped on the corner of 5th Avenue and 59th Street. People rushed past her. Taxis honked. The city moved like nothing had happened, because to everyone else, nothing had. She pulled out her phone, opened her banking app. $47 in checking, $1,200 in savings. Rent was due in 5 days. The dress she was wearing cost $350. She'd been so sure tonight would change everything. She looked down at the champagne stains, realized she looked like she'd been in a fight, or lost one. She found a 24-hour diner in Hell's Kitchen, slid into a booth in the back. The waitress, an older black woman with kind eyes, brought her water without being asked. "You okay, honey?" Maya nodded. Didn't trust her voice. "You need anything else?" "Coffee. Black." The waitress brought the coffee, left her alone. Maya sat there until 2 in the morning, staring at her phone, too ashamed to call anyone, too angry to go home. Finally, she called her mother. It rang 4 times. Regina answered, voice thick with sleep. "Maya? Baby, what's wrong?" "It's 2 in the morning." And that's when Maya broke. She told her mother everything. The mixer, Victoria, the champagne, being on her knees in front of 200 people while they laughed. Regina listened, didn't interrupt. When Maya finished, there was a long silence. Then Regina spoke. "You remember when you were 10 years old? Those girls at school." "Mama, I don't want to talk about." "The ones who said you talked white." Maya closed her eyes. "Yeah, I remember." "You remember what you did?" "I stopped talking in class for a whole year." "That's right. You made yourself small. You shrunk down so they'd leave you alone. And I let you do it. That's on me. I should have told you then what I'm telling you now." "What?" "Stop making yourself small for people who want you gone anyway. You're 32 years old, Maya. When are you going to stop?" "I don't know how to fight this, Mama." "She has everything. Money, power, connections. I have. You have grit. You have brains. You have something she'll never have." "What's that?" "You know what it's like to have nothing. That woman, she's never been hungry. She's never had to choose between rent and food. She's never had to build something from dirt. That's your advantage, not your weakness." Maya wiped her face with a paper napkin. It came away black with mascara. What if I can't do this? Then you can't. But you don't quit because some rich woman threw a drink on you. You quit because you decided you were done. Not her. You hear me? Yeah. Maya. Yes, ma'am. Your grandmother used to tell me something. She'd say, "The Lord doesn't give you more than you can carry, but sometimes He gives you exactly enough to make you stronger." That woman tonight, she doesn't know who you are. She doesn't know what you're capable of. But God does. And so do I. Maya felt something shift in her chest. What do I do now? You go home. You take a shower. You get some sleep. And tomorrow, you get back to work. You build that platform. And you build it so good, so strong, that 5 years from now, people like her will be begging to invest. And when they do, you'll remember this night. And you'll decide whether they deserve a seat at your table. They talked for another 20 minutes. About nothing. About everything. About the weather in Atlanta. About Caleb's new job at the warehouse. Normal things. Grounding things. When Maya hung up, she felt different. Not hopeful. Determined. She paid for her coffee. Left a $20 tip she couldn't afford. Took the train back to Newark. Walked into her apartment at 4 in the morning. Caleb was asleep on the couch. The TV was still on. Some late-night infomercial about knives that could cut through anything. She stood there for a moment, watching him sleep. Her little brother, 19 years old, working 2 jobs to help her pay rent so she could chase a dream. She went to her room, took off the stained dress, threw it in the trash. Then she sat at her desk, opened her laptop, and got to work. This channel is growing because of people who appreciate stories with meaning. If you're someone who believes in the power of resilience and quiet strength, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We're building something real here, and we're glad you're part of it. Maya's alarm went off at 5:30. She'd been coding for an hour and a half already. At 7, Caleb left for work. She barely noticed. At noon, she got dressed, drove to Newark, pulled up in front of a bodega on South Orange Avenue. Hand-painted sign, bars on the windows, a place she used to buy penny candy as a kid. She walked in with her laptop. The owner, a man named Carlos Rivera, was behind the counter. Mid-50s, tired eyes. "Can I help you?" "Mr. Rivera? My name is Maya Thompson. I build a software platform for small businesses. Inventory management. Sales tracking. I'd like to show you. No cost. Just 30 days to try it." He looked at her like she was selling something that would break. "I already track everything. Pen and paper. Works fine. How long does it take you at the end of each day?" "Maybe 2 hours. Sometimes 3. What if I could get that down to 20 minutes? He studied her. "How much?" "Nothing. Not for the first month. If it works, we talk. If it doesn't, you never hear from me again." He thought about it. "Okay. Show me." She set up her laptop on the counter, walked him through the system, showed him how it tracked inventory in real time, how it flagged low stock, how it generated reports with 2 clicks. 45 minutes later, he said, "When can you install it?" "Right now." She spent 3 hours setting up his system, training him, making sure everything worked. When she finished, he shook her hand. "You come back in a week. If this works like you say, I'll tell my cousin. He runs 3 bodegas in Patterson." Maya drove home smiling. 2 weeks later, she had 5 businesses using her platform. A month after that, 12. She showed up at each one personally, fixed bugs, answered questions, stayed late when she had to. And then, on a Tuesday night at midnight, her phone rang. Carlos Rivera. "Ms. Thompson? Mr. Rivera, is everything okay?" "No, everything is not okay. Your system just crashed. I lost an entire day of sales data." "An entire day? Do you know what that means?" Maya's stomach dropped. "I can fix it." "Fix it? You said this was reliable. You said I could trust it. I have suppliers asking for payment records I don't have anymore because your system lost everything." "Mr. Rivera, please let me. I'm done. I'm going back to pen and paper. And I'm telling everyone I know not to use your software. You hear me? Everyone." He hung up. Maya sat there, phone in her hand, feeling the walls close in. She opened her laptop, started running diagnostics. 2 hours later, she found the problem. A bug in the backup system. Her fault. Completely her fault. She'd been moving too fast, trying to add features, trying to compete with the big companies, and she'd skipped proper testing. She put her head in her hands. Caleb came out of his room, dressed for his shift at the warehouse. It was 2 in the morning. You okay? No. What happened? She told him. He sat down next to her. So fix it. It's not that simple. Yeah, it is. You messed up. Fix it. Go to his bodega. Today. Apologize. Rebuild his data if you have to. Do whatever it takes. But don't sit here feeling sorry for yourself. When did you get so wise? I've been listening to you talk about this platform for 2 years. If you quit now, what was it all for? He stood up, grabbed his keys. I gotta go. But Maya? Don't quit. He left. Maya sat there for 10 more minutes. Then she got up, got dressed, grabbed her laptop, and drove to Carlos Rivera's bodega. She got there at 6 in the morning, right when he was opening. He saw her through the window. His face darkened. She walked in anyway. Mr. Rivera, I told you I'm done. I know, but I'm not done. I messed up. I know that. And I'm here to fix it. There's nothing to fix. The data's gone. No, it's not. I have backups. Server-side backups you didn't even know existed. I can restore everything. Every transaction. Every record. I can have it done in 3 hours. He stared at her. Why would you do that? Because I told you this system was reliable. And I was wrong. And when I'm wrong, I fix it. He studied her for a long moment, then stepped aside. You've got 3 hours. She sat up at the counter, opened her laptop, and got to work. 2 hours and 47 minutes later, every piece of data was back. Then she stayed another hour, fixed the bug, implemented triple redundancy backups, tested everything 6 times. When she finished, Carlos came over. It's all there. Every transaction, every record. I checked 3 times. He scrolled through the system, checking, verifying. Finally, he looked up. Okay. I'll keep using it. But if it crashes again, it won't. I promise. He nodded, then extended his hand. You got guts, Miss Thompson. She shook his hand and walked out of that bodega feeling like she just climbed Everest. 3 weeks later, Caleb came home from the warehouse with his hand wrapped in gauze. Blood was seeping through. What happened? Conveyor belt. It's fine. That's not fine. Did you go to the hospital? Workers' comp took me to urgent care. They stitched it up. Maya grabbed his hand, looked at the bandage. It was soaked through. This needs real medical attention. I can't afford the ER, Maya. How long are you out of work? He wouldn't meet her eyes. 4 weeks. Maybe 6 if it gets infected. Maya felt the floor drop. For weeks without Caleb's income meant they couldn't pay rent. I'll figure it out, she said. But that night, alone in her room, she opened Indeed. Software developer positions. Newark, New York, Philadelphia. 60,000 a year. 70,000. 80,000. She could take a job, just for a few months. Stabilize things. Then come back to the platform. She filled out 3 applications, stared at the submit button, and thought about Victoria standing over her, about being on her knees, about the promise she'd made herself. She closed the laptop, didn't submit a single one. The next morning, she started calling every business using her platform. Mr. Rivera, this is Maya Thompson. I'm calling because I want to make sure everything's working. What's working well? What's frustrating you? What would make this system something you can't live without? She made 63 calls over 2 days. Filled a notebook with feedback. Problems she'd never noticed. Features they desperately needed. Pain points she could solve. Then she locked herself in her room and rebuilt the entire platform from the ground up. No sleep. Just work. Caleb brought her food. Made her eat. Made her drink water. On day 4, she passed out at her desk. Woke up with her face pressed against the keyboard. Drool on the keys. But she kept going. On day 17, Caleb knocked on her door at 3 in the morning. Maya, you need to stop. I'm almost done. You said that 3 days ago. This time I mean it. He sat down on her bed. What if this doesn't work? She looked at him. Really looked at him. His hand was still bandaged. He looked exhausted. Then we lose everything. The apartment. The dream. All of it. But at least I'll know I tried. And if it does work? She smiled. Then we change everything. 2 days later, she finished. She tested the new platform, then tested it again, then tested it 5 more times. Then she sent an email to all 63 clients. New version available. Faster. More reliable. More features. Upgrading you now. She hit send at 6 in the morning and waited. The first response came at 8. Carlos Rivera, this is incredible. What did you do? Then another. The new reporting feature just saved me 2 hours. Then another. Can you add this to track my delivery routes? By noon, she had 47 replies. All positive. By the end of the week, word had spread. Business owners were calling each other. You gotta try this system. Woman named Maya built it. Actually listens. Actually fixes things. Her client base doubled in 6 weeks. Then tripled. And then her phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Thompson. Speaking. My name is David Brennan. I'm a partner at Crescent Ventures. I'd like to meet. Maya's heart stopped. Crescent Ventures. Real investors. Real money. When? Thursday. 1 o'clock. There's a diner on Broad Street in Newark. You know it. I know it. See you then. He hung up. Maya sat there, staring at her phone. Caleb walked in. His bandage was off now. Hand still healing but better. Who was that? An investor. His eyes went wide. For real. For real. So what do you do? I don't mess it up. Thursday came. Maya tried on every piece of clothing she owned. Settled on a navy blazer and black pants. Professional, but not desperate. She got to the diner at 12:30. Sat in her car rehearsing. At 12:55, she walked in. A man was already sitting in a booth by the window. White. Mid-40s. Wore a wedding ring that looked old. Worn. He looked up. Maya Thompson? That's me. David Brennan. Sit. She sat. He didn't waste time. Tell me about your platform. She told him. Everything. The features. The clients. The philosophy behind it. Why she built it for small businesses instead of corporations. He listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't take notes. Just listened. When she finished, he leaned back. You know what I like about you? What? You didn't apologize once. Most entrepreneurs I meet spend half the pitch apologizing. Sorry we don't have more revenue. Sorry we don't have a bigger team. Sorry we don't have the right connections. You didn't do that. I don't have time to apologize. I'm too busy building. He smiled. Exactly. He pulled out a folder. Slid it across the table. I want to invest. $2 million. I want 30% equity. You keep operational control. Maya felt the room tilt. $2 million. More money than she'd ever imagined. Why? She asked. Why what? Why me? You don't know me. You don't know if I can scale this. Why would you risk $2 million? He was quiet for a moment. Then he said something she didn't expect. You know Victoria Harlow? Maya's entire body went rigid. Yeah, I know her. She's my ex-wife. The diner went silent. What? David leaned forward. We were married for 6 years. Divorced 3 years ago. She cheated on me with one of her father's business partners. Got half my money in the settlement. Then she made sure everyone in our social circle knew I was the problem. That I was controlling. Insecure. Threatened by her success. He took a sip of coffee. I wasn't threatened. I just wanted her to stop destroying people for sport. But that's not how Victoria tells stories. Maya's mind was racing. So this is revenge. No. This is pattern recognition. Victoria destroys people. I've watched her do it for years. Ruin careers. Tank companies. Humiliate anyone who threatens her ego. And when I heard what she did to you at the plaza, you heard about that? Everyone heard. Victoria told everyone you crashed a private event. That you were unstable. That you made a scene. Maya felt her hands curl into fists. That's not what happened. I know. Because I know Victoria. So I started digging into you. Found out you didn't quit. Didn't sue. Didn't make a scene. You just built something. That tells me everything I need to know. And what's that? That you fight by building. Not destroying. That's who I invest in. Maya stared at him. If I take your money, she's going to come after both of us. She's already coming after you. At least this way, you'll have resources to fight back. What do you get out of it? He smiled. I get to watch someone Victoria tried to destroy become more successful than she'll ever be. Maya thought about it. $2 million would change everything. Real team, real office, real chance. But it would also mean war. I need more than money, she said. What do you need? I need you on the board. Active involvement. Someone who knows how people like Victoria fight. If I'm going into war, I need a general. David raised his eyebrows. That'll cost you more equity. 40%. You get a board seat. You're involved in major decisions. But I keep veto power on anything that affects the mission. He studied her, then extended his hand. Deal. They shook. As Maya walked out of the diner, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Heard you found an investor. David Brennan, right? Interesting choice. This should be fun. VH. Maya stared at the message. Victoria already knew. She typed back, looking forward to it. Hit send. And kept walking. The deal closed 3 weeks later. Maya sat at her laptop, staring at her business account. $2 million. More zeros than she'd ever seen. Caleb came in. Did it? Yeah. He picked her up, spun her around. We made it. But Maya knew better. They hadn't made it. They'd just been given permission to try. Maya spent the first week after the investment just thinking. $2 million could disappear fast if she wasn't careful. She needed the right people. Not just any people. She started with LinkedIn. Posted a job listing for a chief technology officer. Got 200 applications in 3 days. She narrowed it to 5. Interviewed all of them. And then she met Aaron Mitchell. They sat in a Starbucks in downtown Newark. Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock. Aaron was 42. Former Google engineer. Looked tired but sharp. Why'd you leave Google? Maya asked. Politics. Every decision took 6 months. 3 layers of approval. By the time we shipped anything, it was already obsolete. So why a startup? He leaned forward. Because I'm tired of building tools that help rich people get richer. I want to build something that matters. Maya smiled. What do you know about Axis Solutions? I know you're serving small businesses. Mom and pop shops. The people Google ignores. And I know you're doing something right, because your retention rate is insane. 94%. Exactly. That doesn't happen by accident. Maya studied him. Here's the truth. I can't pay you what Google paid you. I can offer you $80,000 in equity. But I can offer you something Google never could. What's that? You'll know the names of the people you're helping. When you fix a bug, you won't get a ticket number. You'll get a call from Carlos in Newark, whose bodega you just saved. From Gerald in Baltimore, whose logistics company you just rescued. You'll see the impact. Every single day. Aaron was quiet for a moment. When do I start? Tomorrow. He stood up. Extended his hand. See you tomorrow. Over the next 6 weeks, Maya built her team. Jennifer Santos. Head of sales. 20 years in B2B. Knew every small business owner in New Jersey. Marcus Webb. Customer success. Grew up 3 blocks from Maya. Understood the community. Lisa Chun. Operations. Former McKinsey. Wanted to do something real. By the end of month 2, she had 7 people. And they needed a real office. Maya and Caleb stood in an empty space on Broad Street. For 1,000 square feet. 10th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Newark. The leasing agent, a woman in her 50s, stood by the door with a tablet. It's available immediately. 5-year lease minimum. $15,000 a month. Caleb's eyes went wide. He pulled Maya aside. That's $180,000 a year. I know. We don't have that kind of money. We will. What if we don't? Maya walked to the window. Looked out at the city she grew up in. The projects where her grandmother lived. The elementary school where she learned to read. The library where she taught herself to code. All of it right there. She turned to Caleb. Then we lose everything. But at least we'll know we bet on ourselves. She walked back to the leasing agent. We'll take it. The woman smiled. Wonderful. I'll draw up the paperwork. When she left, Caleb stood next to Maya at the window. You sure about this? No. But I'm doing it anyway. He put his arm around her. Then let's do it right. 2 weeks later, they moved in. 7 desks. 7 computers. 7 people who believed in something bigger than a paycheck. Maya stood in the middle of the empty office that first morning. Aaron walked up beside her. Big space. Yeah. You okay? She looked at him. I grew up in this city. Right down there. And now I'm about to try to change it. You already are. She turned to face him. Promise me something. What? Don't let me forget why we're doing this. The second this becomes about money instead of people, tell me. I will. The first 3 months were chaos. Building systems, onboarding clients, fixing bugs, growing pains. But they grew. Month 4, they hit their first major milestone. A pitch meeting with a regional grocery chain. Pennsylvania-based. 43 stores. Maya walked into the conference room in King of Prussia at 9 in the morning. The CEO, Frank Delgado, was already there. Arms crossed. Skeptical expression. You've got 30 minutes, he said. I only need 20. She pulled up her presentation. Showed him how Axis could integrate with his existing systems. Save his managers 2 hours a day. Reduce inventory errors by 40%. When she finished, Frank leaned back. We're already using SAP. Industry standard. Why would we switch? Maya closed her laptop. Because SAP doesn't know your produce manager's name in Allentown. I do. His name is Ramon. And last Tuesday, your system crashed during inventory. He spent 11 hours manually counting every item in the store. 11 hours. With our platform, that wouldn't have happened. And if it did, I'd be there at midnight helping him fix it. Frank's arms uncrossed. You called Ramon? I called every store before this meeting. Asked them what wasn't working. Ramon told me the truth. Frank smiled for the first time. When can you start? They signed a 3-year contract worth $2 million. Maya called David from her car. We just landed our first major account. How big? $2 million over 3 years. Maya, that's incredible. It's just the beginning. But 3 weeks later, everything changed. Aaron came into her office. Closed the door. We have a problem. What kind? He turned his laptop around. A website. Harlow Technologies. Maya felt her blood freeze. Same features as Axis Solutions. Same target market. Same design language. But 20% cheaper. She copied us, Aaron said. No. She reverse engineered us. Built her own version from scratch. It's legal. So what do we do? Maya stared at the screen. At Victoria's company. Victoria's logo. Victoria's latest attempt to destroy her. We compete. Maya, she has unlimited money. Her father's worth $3 billion. We can't win a price war. Then we don't compete on price. But saying it and doing it were different things. Over the next 90 days, Maya watched clients leave. A bodega in Newark. 2 logistics companies in Baltimore. A restaurant group in DC. Each one sent the same email. We appreciate everything, but we have to go with the more affordable option. She felt each one like a wound. Jennifer came into her office with the quarterly numbers. We're down 22% from last quarter. I know. If this continues for another quarter. I know. Jennifer sat down. What do we do? Maya stared out the window at Newark. At the city that made her. That tested her. That was now watching to see if she'd survive. I don't know yet. That night, everyone else went home. Maya stayed. The office was silent except for the HVAC hum. She sat at her desk watching the sun set over the city. Her phone buzzed. Victoria, how's business? Heard you're having a rough quarter. Maybe you should consider selling. I'd give you a fair price. Walk away with dignity. VH. Maya threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall. Glass shattered. She sat there breathing hard. Rage building. And then she got on her knees. Right there in her office. On the carpet. And prayed. Not rehearsed words. Just raw desperation. God, I don't know what to do. She is everything. Money. Power. Resources. And I'm losing. I'm actually losing. I don't know how to compete with someone who can burn cash forever just to destroy me. Silence. Mama said you don't give us more than we can carry. But this is too heavy. I need help. I need a way through. More silence. Just the building. Just the city outside. Just her and God. And then, slowly, an idea came. Not a voice. Not a vision. Just clarity. She didn't need to compete with Victoria on price. She needed to compete on something Victoria could never replicate. Relationship. Maya stood up, walked to the window, looked out at Newark one more time, and made her decision. The next morning, she called an all-hands meeting. Her entire team. 23 people now. They gathered in the conference room. We're not cutting prices, Maya said. We're not adding features. We're going back to basics. Aaron frowned. What does that mean? It means we're going to visit every single client. In person. We're going to ask them what they need. What's broken? What would make this indispensable? And we're going to fix it. On the spot. No charge. No upsell. We're going to show them we're not just software. We're partners. Jennifer raised her hand. That'll take months. Then it takes months. Harlow can hire 50 salespeople and scale faster. Let them. They can't scale care. Victoria Harlow has never cared about anyone in her life. That's our advantage. Marcus spoke up. I'm in. Me too, Aaron said. One by one, the team committed. And they got to work. Week 1, Maya was in Baltimore. She pulled up outside a warehouse on Eastern Avenue. Henderson Freight. One of her first clients. Gerald Henderson, the owner, was in his office when she walked in. 63 years old. Built his company from one truck 30 years ago. Maya? What are you doing here? Checking in. Making sure everything's working. You drove 2 hours just to check in? You've been with us since month 2. That matters. He smiled. Showed her the system. Everything was running smooth. Honestly, it's perfect. Best decision I ever made. Good. But if anything changes, you call me directly. Not support. Me. She gave him her personal cell. On the drive back, she felt good. Connected. Grounded. Week 2, she was in Jersey City. A logistics company. They'd switched to Harlow Technologies 6 weeks ago. The owner, a man named Marcus Green, wasn't expecting her. She knocked on his office door at 3 in the afternoon. He looked up from his desk. His expression darkened. What do you want? 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I'm busy. Mr. Green, you were with us for 8 months. We must have done something right. Just tell me what we did wrong. He stared at her, then waved her in. 5 minutes. She sat down, pulled out her laptop. Show me what's not working. He turned his monitor around. Harlow's system was open. The inventory alerts. They're supposed to trigger when I'm below 20% stock. But half the time they don't fire. I've run out of product 3 times this month, costing me thousands. Maya looked at the screen, studied the interface, the alert settings. Can I look at the back end? You can see Harlow's code? I can see the data flow. That's enough. He gave her access. She spent 3 minutes analyzing the API calls, the database triggers, the integration points. Your problem isn't the software. It's the data integration. Harlow's system doesn't communicate with your supplier's systems properly. The alerts are triggering on their end, but they're not pulling real-time data from your suppliers. So by the time you get the alert, you're already out of stock. Can you fix it? Not with their system. But with ours, yes. It would take me about an hour to rebuild your supplier integration. How much? Maya closed her laptop. Nothing. I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to help you. If you want to come back to Axis after, great. If not, at least you'll know we tried. Marcus stared at her. You do that? After I left? You trusted us once. That matters to me. He was quiet for a long moment. Okay, do it. Maya rebuilt his integration in 53 minutes. Connected his system directly to his top 5 suppliers. Set up real-time data syncing. Configured alerts that would fire the moment inventory dropped below threshold. When she finished, Marcus tested it. Checked 3 different suppliers. All syncing perfectly. Alerts firing instantly. He looked up at her. This is exactly what I needed. Good. How do I switch back to Axis? You sure? Yeah. Victoria Harlow's company has never called me once. Never checked in. Never asked if things were working. You drove an hour to fix my problem for free. That tells me everything I need to know. Maya smiled. I'll have my team reach out tomorrow. We'll get you migrated by end of week. As she walked to her car, her phone rang. Jennifer. Maya, Marcus Green just called. He wants to come back. And he's referring 2 other logistics companies. I know. I'm leaving his office now. What did you do? I fixed his problem. For free. Jennifer laughed. You're building a movement, you know that? No. I'm just keeping promises. Week 3, Maya was in Newark. A restaurant called Sadie's Kitchen. Soul food. Been in business for 40 years. The owner, a woman named Lucille Davis, was 71, grandmother of 12. She'd been using Axis for 6 months, but Maya heard through Carlos that Lucille was struggling with the reporting features. Maya walked in at 2 in the afternoon, between lunch and dinner rush. Lucille was in the kitchen, prepping collard greens. Ms. Lucille. The older woman looked up. Baby, what are you doing here? I heard you were having trouble with the reports. Who told you that? Carlos Rivera. From the bodega. Lucille wiped her hands on her apron. That man talks too much. He cares about you. So do I. Show me what's not working. They sat in the office. A tiny room in the back. Desk covered in receipts and invoices. Lucille pulled up the system. I can't make sense of these numbers. All these charts and graphs. I just need to know what I'm making, what I'm spending, and what I got left. Simple. Maya looked at the dashboard. It was designed for tech-savvy users. Too complicated for someone like Lucille. Can I customize this for you? You can do that. I built the whole system. I can build you a version that makes sense. Maya spent 2 hours rebuilding Lucille's dashboard. Simplified everything. 3 numbers at the top: revenue, expenses, profit, color-coded. Green when she was up, red when she was down. One-click reports for tax time. When she finished, Lucille looked at the screen. Tears ran down her face. Baby, this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. Why are you crying? Because nobody's ever taken the time. Every other company I've worked with, they sell me something and disappear. But you're here, in my kitchen, making sure I understand. Lucille hugged her. You're gonna be successful, baby. Because you got a good heart. Maya left that restaurant with tears in her own eyes. Week 4, she was in Philadelphia. Week 5, Baltimore. Week 6, DC. Every single client. In person. Asking questions. Fixing problems. Building relationships. Her team did the same. Aaron visited tech companies. Jennifer visited retail chains. Marcus visited logistics operations. And slowly, word spread. Not through ads. Through stories. A business owner in Baltimore told one in Philadelphia. A bodega owner in Newark told one in Patterson. This woman Maya showed up at my warehouse at midnight to fix a problem. They rebuilt my entire integration for free. I switched to Harlow because it was cheaper. Worst decision I ever made. Went back to Axis and they didn't even say I told you so. Within 8 weeks, Maya's client base started growing again. A bodega in Newark came back. Then 2 logistics companies in Baltimore. Then a restaurant group in DC. By week 12, they'd recovered everything they'd lost. And then some. Harlow Technologies was still operating. Still undercutting on price. But it wasn't growing. Because money couldn't buy what Maya was building. Trust. But Victoria wasn't done. Maya was in her office on a Tuesday morning when her phone rang. First National Bank. Ms. Thompson, we need to discuss your line of credit. What about it? It's being called in. Full repayment due in 30 days. Maya felt the air leave her lungs. That's impossible. We have a 5-year agreement. There's an acceleration clause. If the bank determines the loan is at risk due to adverse circumstances, we can demand immediate repayment. We've received credible information that Axis Solutions is under federal investigation for fraudulent billing practices. That's a lie. We're required to act on credible reports. Who gave you this information? Silence. I can't disclose. Was it Victoria Harlow? More silence. Ms. Thompson, we need $3 million in 30 days. Or we'll be forced to take legal action. The line went dead. Maya sat there. Phone in her hand. The room spinning. $3 million in 30 days. She called David immediately. Victoria planted a fake investigation story with the bank. Can you prove it's fake? Not in 30 days. How much do you need? $3 million. David exhaled. I don't have that liquid. Everything's tied up in long-term investments. So what do? Find another investor. Fast. Maya spent the next 2 weeks pitching everyone she could find. Same response everywhere. Too risky with the Victoria situation. We can't take that kind of exposure. Call us when this is resolved. 7 days left. 5 days. 3 days. And then her phone rang. Miss Thompson? Richard Castellano. Sentinel Capital. I heard you're in a situation. They met the next day. His office. Wall Street. 42nd floor. Richard was younger than she expected. Mid-30s. Sharp suit. Sharper eyes. He didn't waste time. Victoria Harlow tried this exact move with one of my portfolio companies 2 years ago. Planted a fake SEC complaint. Tried to tank our IPO. We fought back. Won. Cost us $1 million in legal fees and 6 months of hell. He leaned forward. So here's my question. Are you ready to fight? Really fight? Because if I give you this money, she'll escalate. She'll come after you personally. Your family. Your reputation. Everything. Are you ready for that? Maya didn't hesitate. Yes. Why? Because if she wins here, she'll do this to someone else. And then someone else. It has to stop. Richard smiled. Good answer. $3 million. Bridge loan. 12% interest. 6-month term. And when this is over, I want the option to invest more. Deal. He made a phone call. 20 minutes later, a man walked in. Tall. Mid-50s. Gray hair. Looked like he'd been in 1,000 fights. Maya Thompson, meet Thomas Wright. Former FBI. Now he handles situations. They shook hands. Thomas sat down. Richard told me about Victoria. I can help, but you need to understand what that means. I'm going to dig into everything. Her company, her deals, her relationships, and I'm going to find things. Things she doesn't want public. When I do, you'll have to decide what to do with that information. What are my options? Leverage. You force her to back off. Or you go public. Destroy her reputation. End her career. But you can't have both. So you need to decide right now. Do you want peace or do you want justice? Maya's chest tightened. I don't want to destroy anyone. Then ask yourself this. What do you want? Maya was quiet. Then she said, find everything. I'll decide when I see it. Thomas nodded. I'll be in touch. 2 weeks later, Thomas sent her a file. 83 pages. Maya read it alone in her office. Door locked. Victoria hadn't just sabotaged her. She'd been doing it for 15 years. 14 companies. All destroyed through planted stories, bribed journalists, fake regulatory complaints. Thomas had testimony from 9 former Harlow Capital employees. All bound by NDAs. All willing to talk off the record. Emails. Financial records. Wire transfers. Paper trails connecting Victoria directly to each sabotage campaign. And evidence that she'd bribed a state senator to kill an oversight bill. Federal crimes. Wire fraud. Bribery. Racketeering. Maya could end her with this. Prison. Destroyed family legacy. Complete annihilation. But using it would make her just like Victoria. She called her mother. Mama, I need advice. What's wrong, baby? Maya told her everything. The investigation. The evidence. The choice. Regina listened. Then she said, what does your gut tell you? My gut says she deserves it. But my heart says I'll regret it. Then what's the middle ground? What do you mean? You don't have to destroy her. But you don't have to let her keep destroying others. There's always a third path. You just have to find it. Maya hung up and realized what she had to do. She called Thomas. Set up a meeting. Me and Victoria. Private. Just us. You sure that's smart? No. But I'm doing it anyway. The meeting was set for Thursday afternoon. A law office in Manhattan. Neutral ground. Thomas would be in the building, but not in the room. Maya arrived at 2 o'clock. Victoria was already there. She looked different. Thinner. Older. The arrogance was still there, but wearing thin. They sat across from each other. Neither spoke for a full minute. Finally, Victoria broke the silence. Why did you want to meet? Maya slid the file across the table. Open it. Victoria opened it. Page 1. Page 5. Page 20. Page 40. Her face went from pale to ashen. Emails. Testimony. Financial records. Wire transfers. 14 companies. 15 years of destruction. All documented. When she finished, she looked up. Where did you get this? Doesn't matter. What matters is what I do with it. Victoria's jaw tightened. Are you threatening me? No. I'm giving you a choice. What choice? Maya leaned forward. You shut down Harlow Technologies. Immediately. You stop sabotaging competitors. Period. You issue a public statement taking responsibility for aggressive business practices. You donate $25 million to a fund for the entrepreneurs you've destroyed. And you never come near me, my company, or anyone I care about ever again. Victoria laughed. But it sounded hollow. Or what? Or I take this to the FBI. Wire fraud. Bribery. Racketeering. You'll spend the next decade in federal prison. Your father's company will be investigated. Your family name will be destroyed. Everything you've built, everything you've inherited, gone. The laughter died. Victoria stared at her. You wouldn't. Maya stood up. Try me. You have 7 days. She walked to the door. Victoria's voice stopped her. Wait. Maya turned. Victoria's mask was cracking. For the first time, Maya saw something that looked like fear. If I do this, it's over? You don't release the file. It's over. Why? Why not just destroy me? I would have destroyed you. Maya thought about the question. About that night at the plaza. About being on her knees. About every moment of humiliation and rage. About her mother's words. About her faith. About the person she wanted to be. Because I'm not you. I don't destroy people for sport. I build things. That's the difference between us. But make no mistake, Victoria. If you come after me or anyone I care about ever again, I won't hesitate. This is your one chance. Your only chance. Take it or leave it. Victoria was quiet for a long time. Then she nodded. I'll do it. 7 days. And Victoria? I meant every word. Maya walked out, got in the elevator, and as the doors closed, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not victory. Freedom. 7 days later, the statement went out. Victoria Harlow's official press release. Carefully worded. Corporate. Vague. But it was there. An apology for overly aggressive business practices that may have negatively impacted competitors. An announcement that she was stepping back from Harlow Technologies to focus on philanthropic initiatives. A pledge of $25 million to an entrepreneurship fund for underserved communities. The press barely covered it. Victoria spun it as evolution. Growth. A new chapter. But the people who mattered knew what it meant. Maya had won. Not by becoming Victoria. By forcing her to choose between freedom and cruelty. And Victoria had chosen freedom. David called that night. You did it. Yeah. How do you feel? Maya thought about it. Tired. Not triumphant. Just tired. That's because real victory isn't dramatic. It's just the absence of war. When did you become a philosopher? When I married Victoria. They both laughed. And Maya realized something. She'd spent 3 years fighting. Maybe it was time to build. If you're still watching, you understand that real strength isn't about destruction. It's about knowing when to fight and when to show mercy. If this story is resonating with you, hit that like button right now. Share this with someone in the middle of their own battle. Subscribe because we're building something meaningful here. And comment below. Tell me what you think of Maya's choice. Let's talk about it. 18 months later, Maya was having dinner alone at a restaurant in downtown Newark. A place called Martin's. Upscale. She'd never been able to afford it before. She sat at a corner table, going over quarterly reports on her iPad. The restaurant was crowded. Business people. Couples. Families. She was so focused on the numbers that she didn't notice the young woman approaching until she was standing right there. Excuse me. Are you Maya Thompson? Maya looked up. The woman was in her early 20s. Nervous. Clutching a portfolio. I am. I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm a student at Rutgers. Computer science. And I read about your company in my entrepreneurship class. You're kind of my hero. Maya set down her iPad. Thank you. That's very kind. What's your name? Keisha. Keisha Barnes. It's nice to meet you, Keisha. Can I ask you something? Of course. Keisha sat down without being invited. Then realized what she'd done. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't. It's fine. Sit. What do you want to know? When you started Axis Solutions. When it was just you. How did you know it would work? Maya thought about it. I didn't. I had no idea if it would work. Then why did you do it? Because I had to try. Because waiting for permission or certainty meant never starting at all. Keisha's eyes were bright. I have an idea. For an app. It helps first-generation college students navigate financial aid. But I'm scared. What if it doesn't work? What if I waste years on something that fails? Maya leaned forward. Then you fail. But at least you'll know you tried. And you'll learn something. Every failure teaches you something success never could. So you're saying I should just do it? I'm saying don't wait. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Start now. Start messy. Start scared. But start. Keisha nodded slowly. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear. She stood up. I'm sorry for interrupting your dinner. You didn't interrupt. You reminded me of why I do this. After Keisha left, Maya sat there, staring at her reflection in the window. She barely recognized herself. The scared girl who'd been on her knees at the plaza felt like a different person. Someone from another life. She'd become someone else. Someone people looked up to. Someone young women like Keisha saw as a hero. It felt surreal. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello. Miss Thompson, this is First National Bank. We need to discuss your line of credit. Maya's heart stopped. Not again. What about it? We're calling regarding the acceleration from last year. We wanted to inform you that the investigation has been officially closed. The complaint was found to be without merit. We're issuing a formal apology and reinstating your original 5-year terms. Maya exhaled. Thank you. We value your business, Miss Thompson. And again, our sincere apologies for the disruption. She hung up, sat there for a moment, then smiled. It was really over. Victoria was gone. The threats were gone. The sabotage was gone. She could finally just build. She paid her bill, left a generous tip, walked outside into the Newark night. The city lights reflected off the buildings. Her city, the place that made her. Her phone buzzed. A text from Aaron. Microsoft wants to meet. Tomorrow. Seattle. They're interested in a partnership. Big. Maya stared at the message. Microsoft, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, wanting to meet with her. She typed back, book the flight. The meeting was in a glass conference room on the 34th floor of Microsoft's headquarters. 5 executives sat across the table. The lead negotiator, a woman named Sarah Chun, slid a contract toward Maya. We've been watching Axis Solutions for 18 months. Your growth, your retention rates, your customer satisfaction scores, they're exceptional. Thank you. We want to integrate Axis into our small business suite. We're offering a licensing deal. $300 million over 5 years. You maintain your brand. We provide distribution and resources. You keep operational control of the platform. Maya read the contract. Every clause, every term, every number. Then she looked up. Why us? There are dozens of inventory management platforms. Sarah smiled. Because you didn't just build software. You built trust. 96% retention. In this industry, that's unheard of. Your customers don't just use Axis. They love it. That's what we want to bring to our small business customers. Maya thought about Carlos, about Gerald, about Lucille, about every business owner who trusted her when she had nothing. I accept. On one condition. What's that? We maintain direct relationships with our existing clients. They don't become Microsoft customers. They stay Axis customers. We just happen to have Microsoft's resources behind us. Sarah nodded. Done. They shook hands. When the announcement went public, the media exploded. Newark entrepreneur signs historic Microsoft deal. From public humiliation to tech partnership. How one woman built a billion-dollar company after being forced to her knees. That last headline made Maya laugh. Because the story was never really about Victoria. It was about what Maya built despite her. 6 months after the Microsoft deal, Maya made a decision that surprised everyone. She called a company-wide meeting. 62 employees now. They gathered in the main conference room. Maya stood at the front. I have an announcement. I'm stepping down as CEO. The room went silent. Not because we're failing. Not because I'm tired. Because I've accomplished what I set out to do. This company is stable, profitable, impactful, and you don't need me anymore. Jennifer spoke up. So what are you going to do? I'm going back to Newark. Full-time. Expanding the Thompson Foundation. Building a tech campus. Creating pathways for kids who grow up like I did. Kids who think rooms like this aren't meant for them. She paused. I build a company that doesn't need me to survive. That's the whole point. If your success depends on you being in the room, you haven't built anything. You've just built a job. I want to build something that outlasts me. She looked at Aaron. Aaron, I'm recommending you as the next CEO. Aaron's eyes went wide. Maya, you've been running operations for 3 years. You know this company better than anyone. It's time. The board approved it unanimously. On her last day, the team threw her a party. Cake, speeches, tears. Caleb was there. David, Patricia, Richard. Gerald drove up from Baltimore. Carlos came from Newark with 5 cousins who now used the platform. As Maya walked out of the building for the last time, she didn't feel sad. She felt free. The Newark Tech campus broke ground 8 months later. $80 million. 5-year project. Computer labs. Makerspaces. Classrooms. Mentorship programs. Free for any kid in Newark. The groundbreaking ceremony was on a cold November morning. The mayor spoke. The governor spoke. Then Maya took the microphone. She looked out at the crowd. At the kids in the front row. Middle schoolers. High schoolers. Eyes wide with possibility. This campus isn't about me. It's about you. Every kid who's been told they're not smart enough. Not rich enough. Not connected enough. This is your space. Your proof. She paused. I learned to code on library computers because I couldn't afford my own. I built a company from nothing because I didn't have another choice. And now I'm standing here telling you that none of that matters if I don't use it to open doors for you. She looked directly at the kids. You are not your zip code. You are not your parents' bank account. You are your imagination, your work ethic, and your refusal to quit. Walk through these doors. Do the work. And the world will have no choice but to make room for you. The crowd erupted, and Maya felt her grandmother's presence as real as the cold air on her face. That night, she drove to Atlanta, sat on her mother's porch drinking sweet tea. Regina was 78 now, moving slower, but still sharp. You did good, baby. Thanks, Mama. Your grandmother would be so proud. I know. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Regina spoke. You still carrying guilt about Victoria? Maya was surprised. How do you always know? Because I'm your mother. And I know when something's still sitting on your heart. Maya sighed. I forced her to give up everything. And part of me felt good about it. What does that say about me? Regina turned to face her. It says you're human. It says you refused to be a doormat. It says you stood up for yourself and for people she hurt. None of that makes you bad. But I enjoyed it. Of course you did. She humiliated you. Tried to destroy you. Feeling satisfaction when she faced consequences doesn't make you evil. It makes you human. Stop punishing yourself for having dignity. Regina took her hand. You gave her a choice. You could have destroyed her, and you didn't. You offered her a way out. She took it. That's grace, baby. More grace than most people would have given. Maya felt the weight lift. Thanks, Mama. Now come inside. I made peach cobbler. 3 years later, Maya received a call she never expected. Miss Thompson? This is Catherine Harlow, Victoria's mother. Maya's heart stopped. Mrs. Harlow, I know this is unexpected, but I need to speak with you. It's about Victoria. She's dying. They met 2 days later in Manhattan. Catherine looked older, frilier, something broken in her eyes. Thank you for coming. What's happening? Catherine's hands shook. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. 3 months. Maybe less. Maya felt like she'd been punched. I'm sorry. Are you? The question hung there. Maya thought about it honestly. Yes. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Catherine's eyes filled. She's been asking about you. Says she needs to talk to you before it's too late. Why? I don't know. She won't tell me. But it's consuming her. Please. I know what she did. But she's still my daughter. Maya stared at her coffee. Every instinct said walk away. But something deeper said stay. Where is she? Memorial Sloan Kettering. Room 847. Maya nodded. I'll think about it. She walked Manhattan for hours. Thinking. Praying. Wrestling. She called her mother. What would you do? Regina was quiet. I'd ask myself one question. Will I regret it if I don't go? Maya asked herself. Yes. Not because she owed Victoria anything. Because she owed herself closure. The next day, Maya walked into Memorial Sloan Kettering. 8th floor. Room 847. stood outside for 5 minutes, then knocked. "Come in." Maya opened the door. Victoria was in the bed. Thin, pale, hollow, a ghost. Their eyes met. Victoria smiled weakly. "You came. Your mother asked me to. I wasn't sure you would." Maya sat in the chair by the bed. Silence. Then Victoria spoke. "I'm dying. I know. 2 months. Maybe 3. Maya nodded. Victoria looked at her skeletal hands. "I've been thinking about my life. The things I've done. The people I've hurt." She looked up. "I hurt you. Badly. And I wanted to apologize." Maya said nothing. Victoria continued. "That night at the plaza. I did it because I was jealous. Jealous." Tears ran down Victoria's face. "You'd built something real. Something that mattered. I'd spent my whole life writing on my father's name. Destroying people because it was the only power I understood." She wiped her face. "You walked into that room with your passion and your authenticity. And I hated you for it. Because you were everything I wasn't. You'd earned your place. I'd inherited mine. More tears. So I humiliated you. Because I wanted to prove you didn't belong. But really, I was proving that I didn't." Victoria's voice broke. "I'm sorry, Maya. For everything. You deserved better." Maya sat there, feeling her own tears come. Then she spoke. "I forgive you." Victoria looked shocked. "What? I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." Victoria sobbed. Maya reached over and took her hand. "You hurt me, but you also made me stronger. So thank you." Victoria squeezed her hand. "You're better than I ever was." "No, I just chose a different path." They sat together for a long time. Before Maya left, Victoria said, "I saw what you're doing. The campus. The foundation. It's beautiful. Thank you. I wish I'd built something like that." Maya stood at the door. "It's not too late. You have 2 months. Leave money to the foundation. Fund scholarships. Use your name for good." Victoria nodded. "I will. Goodbye, Victoria." "Goodbye, Maya. And thank you." Maya walked out and felt lighter than she had in years. Victoria died 6 weeks later. In her will, she left $30 million to the Thompson Foundation. The press called it redemption. Maya called it grace. 10 years after that night at the plaza, Maya Thompson stood in the East Room of the White House. The president placed the Presidential Medal of Freedom around her neck. Maya wore a simple black dress. As the medal settled against her chest, she looked out. Her mother, 84, still proud. Caleb, married, 3 kids. David, Patricia, Richard, and in the back, Jasmine Rodriguez. Her company worth $500 million now. After the ceremony, a young reporter approached. "Miss Thompson, what's the secret to your success?" Maya smiled. "No secret. Just faith, work, and refusing to let anyone tell you you're not enough." "Any advice?" "2 things. First, don't wait for permission. If you have a vision, build it." She paused. "Second, success isn't about you. It's about what you build for others. Build legacy. Open doors. Create opportunities. That's what lasts." One last question. Victoria Harlow. Do you think about her? Sometimes. But not with anger. With sadness. She had everything, but never had peace. Never had purpose. And that's what kills you. Not poverty. Purposelessness. She looked at the camera. "I was humiliated. Publicly. Cruelly. It almost broke me. But I chose to let it build me instead. And if you're in your worst moment right now, hear me. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Use it. Build something. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right." The interview ended. Maya walked outside. Her phone buzzed. "Miss Thompson, my name is Nicole Bradford. I'm 24. Just got fired for reporting harassment. Was going to give up. Then I watched your interview. Thank you. I'm starting my own company." Maya smiled. Typed back. "That's exactly right. Send me your pitch. I want to hear it." She walked to where her mother was waiting. "You ready to go home?" Regina asked. "Yeah, Mama. I'm ready." They drove back to Newark. Back to the tech campus where 700 students were learning. Back to the foundation that had funded 1,800 entrepreneurs. Back to the community center where Maya still mentored every Thursday night. Maya Thompson had started on her knees, but she'd risen higher than anyone imagined. Not because she was special, but because she refused to stay down. And in the end, that's what separates those who make it from those who don't. Not talent, not luck, not privilege. Refusal. The refusal to let humiliation define you. The refusal to let rejection determine your worth. The refusal to believe others decide your destiny. Maya had been forced to her knees in public, and she'd built a billion-dollar empire standing up. With faith, with grit, with the unshakable belief that she was exactly where God meant her to be. Not in Victoria's world, in her own. And that made all the difference. If you made it to the end, thank you. If this moved you, do 3 things. Hit that like button. Share this with someone fighting their own battle. And subscribe. Drop a comment and tell me what you're taking away, where you're watching from, what you're building. Because your story matters too. And we're here to remind you of that. Every single week. God bless you. And I'll see you in the next one.